Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video we'll be continuing on the series of BBL team previews, going on to now the Sydney Sixers, and then tomorrow we have the Sydney Thunder, and then on Saturday you'll probably see no videos I don't think, and then Sunday you'll see a Sydney Swans draft preview video and what I expect to happen there. And then Monday, I don't know what will go on. Maybe a team reveal 2.0, etc. will go through as we slowly get more updates, go through the players that are going to miss in the BBL, as we've just received news that Harry Brooks is pulled out of the BBL, so he will get, I don't know if he's still in the system at the moment. Let me just check here. Harry Brook, he's still listed on the Stars, but I have a feeling you'll see him get taken out sometime soon as that news filters through and they take him out of the game. But anyway, before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, we've got the the Sixers up here. Mixing up my sports, and you can see here that Sean Abbott is the top player price-wise at 197.6k and 20% owned. The only problem with him is the potential Prime Minister's 11 games and the potential for a test squad. He won't be in the test team, but just the test squad being up and around that team, there is potential there. They could use Lance Morris, who had a pretty good day out in the Shield, as well as Hardy yesterday. Hardy took 3 for 11 off 9 and a bit over, so he was pretty good yesterday. And as I said, you've got Abbott there, so some other guys there that will make up that sort of 5 or 6 man extras or spares that they usually haven't taken around with the test squad, which could include Michael Nisa, but they seem to like Nisa not being around the test squad as much. But we'll see what they do with that. But Sean Abbott here, 197k, we look at his fixtures here. I believe they just have the Sydney Sixers are the easiest ones to sort of pick, in which you're probably just going to have them for the start and then just sort of get rid of them slowly if they fall out of form or something like that, or you want to just go to a double or another team's double. As you can see here, they just consistently play one per round, so you're really just going to want the players that are the highest average. I mean, if you look at Sean Abbott's 63 average last year, the year before that 70, the year before that 54, the year before that 85, and the year before that 67 or 68, and then finally this year 79. So he's one of the best scorers constantly, and at 197k, this will be one of his cheaper years, to be honest with you. Usually starts around that 220 to 240 range. I mean, started 205 last year. The year before that, 165. That was a low year. The year before that, 219. The year before that, 195. So, I mean, he is always starting around this 148 and then 137. I don't know why it seems like he always gets marked down, which is a weird one, to be honest with you. But I can also see that it seems like he's sort of always been the one that hasn't really had that big price since they've started to up the prices as players get the sort of minimum goes up, etc. I'm pretty sure that the highest at the start of last year I think was 240k, whereas I don't think we saw any 220s 200s early on in the BBL SuperCoach a couple of years ago. But that could just be my memory evading me there. But anyway, next up is Ben DeWashis, and I think he'll play quite a lot. He'll be one of the lead bowlers because he won't get selected for Australia duty or anything, and I don't think he has any other T20 commitments. 593 last year. 14 wickets, provided 50 runs with the bat, so can do that, and did get an economy rate bonus, and 95 dot balls in 10 games is 9.5 a game, which is really good. Year before that, he provided 553 off 10 games at 55.3, very, very similar numbers. The year before that as well, 756, where he took 24 wickets, 101 dot balls in 13 games, so a couple more games there, but still averaged 58. So he's gone 55, 56, and 58 basically. And then the year before that, 853. You can see runs there piling up a little bit, but 20 wickets, and then huge Conner rate bonuses. Obviously 16 games, so had more, so he actually averaged less, but still 53 in every single season is a really good amount. And then 710 in 15 games at 47, so 47 being a low. I just wouldn't pick him because you have obviously the Brisbane Heat triples, and I think there's more value for bowlers like Curran and Curran, Abbott himself. You've also got, I will quickly check with the team because you've got Nisa there around the same thing. Khan has, I believe, a double. Maybe not a double, actually. So this team will be changed up. Then you have potentially even in Maxwell Renshaw might not be a bowler this year. Not a bowler, so he just is a batter. So you've got Maxwell plus like 4 or 5 other guys that are all bowlers that are probably more valuable than the likes of Dwarshuis, but then again, it's Dwarshuis. He'll always put in sort of this common sort of shift that he does always. Let me just readjust this as I go back to what I was trying to look at. It's highest price. And there we go. Now we move on to Tom Curran, and I think this one might be one of the biggest steals of the BBL season, as he it doesn't actually have his stats previously, but I'm pretty sure if you were to go back and look at him playing in the BBL a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, you would see him have quite a good year. I mean, I'll probably look it up on my phone just to give you the stats for him, but I'm pretty sure he was a very influential player back when he actually was playing in the BBL. I know he took a couple years off, but let me just try and figure out if I can get his BBL stats up. And I think I have it here. Let me just see. BBL career stats. So 32 games, 47 wickets, which is, what's that already? 940 points. So that's already roughly 30 points a game. Then you've got 900 and that's just bowling statistics. He would have a couple of also 3-wicket bonuses as well that you can bowl that you can get in there, as well as the economy rate bonus. And then he also has 351 runs as well in 31 games, which is around about 12 a game. So even just off the runs and wickets, he's averaging like 43 or whatever. And he's got 7 catches as well, which would add another about 4 points. So geez, even just off the catches, runs, and wickets, he's gotten that says only 21 dot balls bowling wise. I don't think that's correct. Something tells me that's not right. I think it would be more likely 200 odd, which again would be another 6 or 7 points. So he's probably going to be a 60. I think he was a 65 to 70 type guy, and he's coming off a pretty good T20 blast season for Surrey, so he should be good. And I wish they actually had his stats from previous seasons, and I wish you could figure that out. But it seems like they've just given him a fresh card and just given him sort of that, I guess you would say, just fresh things, and given him a 180k price tag, which I think is reasonable, but I think it's a little bit unders for Tom Curran and his ability just to be able to do that. As you can see here, he probably averaged, I'm gonna say he might have even averaged 77 with the way it looks like with his projected score and stuff like that. Then you have Stephen O'Keefe, and I don't even know if he'll play that many games. It seems like he's starting to slow down eventually. 57 last year, 57 the year before that, 42, 36, and then the year before that, 62. So, I mean, he is still providing with, and he provides a lot with dot balls. It seems like 60 dot balls in 7 games is like 9 a game almost, and 12 wickets in 7 games. If we look at the year before that, he provided 11 wickets and 56 dot balls in 7 games as well. So it doesn't look like he's playing many games. I mean, he's had quite a few injuries throughout the time, but he is still providing decent scores. I don't think he will. I think he might have to shoulder quite a lot of the load, and this is why I think there's a potential for the likes of Joel when we get down to him to actually play, because Murphy, Rian Ahmed, and potentially if Sock gets injured, there's no other spinners, I don't think, for the Sixers, so they probably will just pick Joel and bat him lower in the order. Then you have Todd Murphy, and this one I think would be staying clear just because there's no real positive in the Sixers schedule after round one, and Todd Murphy is almost guaranteed to either be playing for Australia or playing for the Prime Minister's 11. So I would be not picking him, and there's no point picking him later as he just doesn't have a double, whereas all the other teams pretty much have a double at some point. Next up, Jackson Bird, and again, much like a lot of the other Sixers players, I don't really like his standalone average per game, and I don't think it's really going to rival any of the doubles that a lot of the other teams play. So this is sort of the same sentiment across all of the Sixers players at the moment. It's just that they're not gonna get into the side pretty much, just because they don't play a double anywhere else in the season except for round one, where Brisbane and 3 other teams or something like that play a double as well. So Brisbane play a triple, as we know. So it's not really going to be valuable to get Jackson Bird. As we see his last year stats, 319 at an average of 53. The year before that, 24. So you can even see that was just probably an up year where he just took a lot of wickets early. And I'm pretty sure his is a lot of 16 wickets in 6 games is a ridiculous output. Sorry, not 16 wickets, 8 wickets in 6 games is still a decent output, actually. I wonder if I got any of Stephen O'Keefe's stats wrong. I don't think I did. Let me actually just check that. Let's see, what was his... let's see here. 2021, he had 11 wickets, and 2022, he had 12. So I don't think my stats for him were wrong in saying what I said. Then we move on to Hayden Kerr. And this is an interesting one, just because I do think if he does get the 4 overs and bat 6, I think there could be some value here. But that's all dependent on the round 1 teams, and I don't know if he will play. I know he'll play, but I don't know his specific role, and it's sort of depending on what does who's the spinner available, and that 6th bowler, because you'll have Abbott, Dwarshuis, Curran, and probably O'Keefe, and then you'll probably have Moses Henriquez as well there, who could potentially take overs off him. And there's no one else there that really sticks out that will be bowling. I mean, they could go with a 5-strong bowling lineup and have Curran at 8, 9, 10, 11. They could have Curran at 7 and Abbott at 8, Dwarshuis 9, Bird 10, and O'Keefe 11, something like that. They could have that and then have and then be able to slot in Kerr at 6. That could be a very, very obvious sort of lineup that they'll go with, and so that would mean that Kerr probably is just going to bowl 1 or 2 overs just to try and lighten the load in case someone's getting hit around the park, which usually happens in a T20 game, that one person's not going to bowl that well. But as you can see, 16 wickets last year, 117 runs, 45 average. The year before that, I'm pretty sure he had quite a ridiculous average just off the back of that 90, or was the 98 that he scored in, he had 22 wickets the year before that. It might have been the 98 that he scored. It wasn't that long ago, was it? Yeah, so it must have been the last year that he scored a 98 or something. The 98 came in a knockout game, which wouldn't have counted for anything, but that did show, I think it was in this year here, the 21-22 campaign, that he scored the 98 right after the regular season where he hadn't scored any runs, and then he's just come in and opened the batting and scored 98 and won Sydney the game, because that was the year that the Sixers had all their guys score 98, and then 90s, there was 3 or 4 90s that year, and then obviously Smith came in and blasted a couple tons just to get the first tons for the Sixers in the comp. But that was... So Hayden Kerr has shown that he can bat, and he can obviously bowl, taking 22 wickets in a year, and he's a pretty good fielder as well. Next up, Jordan Silk, and I think he'll bat 5 for the Sixers. They'll go Vince, Philippi, Patterson, Henriquez, Silk, and then Hayden Kerr and the 5 bowlers that I said. I think that'll be what they'll do. But So him batting 5, I don't think there's too much value, just given the fact that he generally doesn't score. I watch him have a huge strike rate bonus. 85, that's not actually that bad, and huge catching bonus. Like he does, he usually takes. I mean, he taken 18 catches in 14 games over a catcher game is quite ridiculous. So he'll do that probably again because he's just a freak of a fielder. But I don't really like his batting enough to get him the runs needed to get a good score, good average, and I just think there's better average guys. As you can see, he sort of is a 40s guy, and I don't think that is that valuable. I think there's other guys around that 110 range that can go 55 or 60 rather than Jordan Silk's. 130k, you even have like Maxwell, etc. like that. You have guys around that price range that are just so much better, I think. Then you have Vince here, 115k, and I think this actually is a viable strategy, especially if you do have a lot of the Heat guys get named for the Prime Minister's 11 as well as in the Aussie Test squad. I don't remember what it was. I don't think they have selected their Test squad yet, but we'll see what happens there. And yeah, so there is a chance that, and with Vince, we know that he isn't going to be missing with early on in the season. We do know that he is going to be missing late on in the year, but not early on like there was potential with the England squad like we had with the likes of Ahmed and Crawley, and originally Brook before he left just decided not to play the BBL, sorry. And just trying to see here, Vince is playing in the Abu Dhabi T10 League, and the Abu Dhabi T10 League, if I have it here, I believe, or is it just the T20s? Abu Dhabi T10, where is it? So he actually is in doubt for round 1, which further makes it a little bit annoying. Let me actually look this up. Time to do some research and figure out what's going on with this. Fixtures, here we go. Can you give me the fixtures? Okay. Let's just see. So this is quite annoying in that I'd have to figure out the team that he's playing in, but there's a very good likelihood that he actually does miss now looking at it. Right here, I didn't know that he was actually playing in the T10 League, but I don't know whether he'll play the whole way through, or whether he'll play whether he'll just be here for, whether he'll leave early. I just trying to figure this out. Do we have any potential? Do you have the actual players or whatnot, or is it just home? Do you have any? I'll have to look up the T10 League player that he's in and which team he's playing for. I'll try and find that quickly, but that is annoying that he is potentially going to be out, which if he is out, then that pretty much means that he's not going to be viable, and that pretty much means that I would expect Curtis Patterson I would expect either Jack Edwards or Hughes to play, and if they do play, then that's a good just rookie play for the first round and just gain some cash, because Jack Edwards I would expect with the form that he's just sort of showing at the moment, he should be able to score more than 40 in 2 games scoring wise, because that's just a catch and 30 runs, and you could easily get a strike rate bonus. Let's see. Just trying to figure out which team he's playing for. Doesn't really say, which is quite annoying. But anyway, move on to Rian Ahmed. I don't think will ever be a go, just because he's missing the early part of the season when they have the double, and you're never going to pick him on a single, to be honest with you. Philippi, I think, is one that is very, very undervalued, especially if he gets back to his form that he's shown previously, where he can easily go and score 80, 90 in a game and he's done that 3 or 4 times for the Sixers. I mean, his last year he scored 464 at 33. The year before that, he scored 754 at 58. So there's 25 points there upside. And then the year before that, he averaged 56. And the year before that, he averaged 52. And anything the year before that, potentially 641 at 42. So if you just quickly go back here, 33. So his lowest season by 10, basically. So I think that there is a chance that he does go and score better than that quite easily. And I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just trying to figure out this. Trying to figure out who James Vince signed for is quite annoying here. If I search up Abu Dhabi, this is quite annoying. Here we go. I think, no, there's nothing here that shows who he's signed for, so someone probably should put that in the comments. Here we go. Maybe this will work. Put that in the comments who he's signed for, so that we can figure out when his last game is. But yeah, so Rian Ahmed won't be a go. Philippi will be a go with his price, 102k, with his batting as well as on top of keeping, where he takes at least, you would expect, if we look at the fancy element here, 12 catches, which is just an added basically 10 points a game. So if you think he's a batter that can average 40 on his own with the bat, in terms of points, so that would be an average of like 30 or something for the year for him, then I think that would be a go. Just trying to figure out here. Abu Dhabi doesn't say basically who's, it says to the 9th of December, and the first BBL game for the Sixers, if I bring it up here, I believe is like the 8th or something, which will impact him definitely. The Sixers play on the 8th. So Vince might be out the opening game, but I expect him to be back for the second game where they play Hobart on the 11th. So he should be back then. I couldn't find the actual team, but I would expect Vince to be back. Then it just sucks how the BBL is sort of getting, is sort of the minority league at the moment, in that they're having they sort of gift their players out, etc., and let them play in all the other tournaments, rather than being, in my opinion, it should be the second or third best, behind the likes of the Vitality Blast and also the IPL in terms of T20, because it should just be bigger, but it looks like the Pakistani and Abu Dhabi ones have much more money, so the players just decide to play the full season there and shorten their BBL campaigns. Anyway, we move on to Moses Henriquez, and I'll try and speed this up a little bit, just because I did waste a lot of time with James Vince. Moses Henriquez, don't really see there being much value there at 96 unless he starts bowling again, and by the time we figure out that he's going to be bowling, it's going to be pretty much no use, as they only play one game around. But as we've seen, if we go back to 2016-17, 427 at an average of 42, 2017-18, 529 at an average of 35. There isn't much value there, I don't think. And as you can see from 2019 onwards, he really didn't bowl. Curtis Patterson probably will be potentially of some value, as he gets more of, he's going to have the same amount of game time you would expect, but had a really good season for the Scorchers back in 2021-22, and then came over to the Sixers and didn't really do much. Hasn't really played much BBL outside of that since 2016-17, so hopefully we see a better season from him. Then you have Joel Davies, and there is potential for him to play if both. Well, you basically need all three spinners to go down for him to play, because I don't think they'll play him as the all-rounder, as they've got Abbott and Curran. So I think they'll play him more of his bowler, batting like 9. But you'd need, originally we're going to have Rian Ahmed basically out to, I think, is it like the 16th or the 18th, I think, is when their series, no. Or is it like, do they play their last game on Boxing Day? I know that the West Indies series is sometime around that 16th to the 26th that it ends, but you have that much time. You've also got Todd Murphy, that's most likely, as we say, going to be out till game week 3 or 4, and then you've also got the potential for Sock just to be injured or needed to be rested. So there is a potential for Joel to play, but I think he'd need injuries. Same with Jack Edwards and also Dan Hughes if they want to actually play, as I don't expect Jack Edwards to really get a game unless you have Vince out and some other guys out, as they'll probably play Dan Hughes even ahead of Jack Edwards, but we'll see what they do. Anyway, that pretty much is the Sixers lineup. A little bit sketchy just because of the James Vincent trying to figure out on the run which team he was going to play for, but it looks like he'll be missing the first game of the season for the Sixers now, from just my little research there, which sort of sucks for the Sixers, but they'll find a way around it. Anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the Thunder recap tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.